Good morning and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. I'm JP and joining me in this fine Wednesday morning, my good man, Mr. Alan Stirling. And we're here, Alan, to have a wee chat and preview tonight's match at Celtic Park, Celtic versus Bayern Munich, mate. Well, I hope you're well, mate. It's good to see you. And, hi, as I say, hope you're doing well for the last time I spoke to you Monday night, mate.
Morning. Yeah, pretty well. All quiet in the Western Front. Hope you're well. Hope everyone that's tuning in is very well. Yeah, it's came to that time that Celtic are playing one of the favourites in the Champions League. We're at the top table, so it was going to come to that time that we'll be matched up with one of Europe's elite, shall we say. So It's exciting times for Celtic to come up against kind of the calibre of players and the calibre of team that Bayern Munich, the threat that they can pose towards us. But it's going to be an extremely difficult task. It's going to be very, very tough for us to get any kind of positive result. But we're going into this game kind of full of confidence. We're playing extremely good football. Playing very well, and yeah, let's just hope we can put across a performance, show the best of kind of what we're capable of, and if we do that, then we can always see what can happen. We've seen it in the past with the likes of kind of Man United, Barcelona, etc. It can happen. It doesn't happen kind of regularly, but if we can with a bit of faith and kind of the confidence that we're showing, here's hoping that we could get a very positive result.
Yeah, I think that's, you hit the nail on the head there when you said we're here. You know, the fact that we're in this predicament, we're in this moment, shows you how well we've actually done this season, Alan, in terms of getting to this stage. I think, a lot of people looking ahead at the group stage before we kicked the ball, just going with the same old attitude that Celtic don't do that well in Europe. So, we have saw a big difference this season. But for me, mate, I think the biggest difference was the coming back for the Dortmund result when we get beat 7-1. You look at that and then you see how this team, guys like Arne Engels and stuff coming into the team brand new, learning, coming into the team, growing with the other players that are around about. I just think, for me, they've grew together, Alan, and obviously with that has came a belief that they can actually go and, perform at this level, mate.
Yeah, I've said that a number of times. I know it's never nice to get that kind of scalping against a team in Europe, but I think that we've taken the positives out of that. I think Brendan's kind of maybe adapted. You've seen that, the way that we set up against Atalanta as well. So yeah. I think overall the result wasn't a positive thing, but I think what's came after that has been positive because the players have learned for that. The managers definitely learned for that. And you've seen we've had kind of positive results since then. In particular, obviously the Atalanta game and the Leipzig game. Make no doubt about it, they're kind of two top quality sides. So we've managed to this is the first time in 12 or 13 years that we've managed to get to the knockout rounds of the Champions League, which is there's no mean feat whatsoever. It's a great achievement. A lot of people, including myself, are saying that the draw has been very favourable, but at the end of the day, we've grasped that opportunity, we've taken that opportunity, and we've managed to accumulate enough points to get to this stage. So, yeah, we've definitely progressed this year in comparison to a number of the kind of previous years. It would be a monumental achievement if we could kind of take Bayern close. But this is the kind of stage that we're at the bonus stage. I think I don't think nobody's kind of expecting Celtic to pull off any kind of results. We're hopeful of it as always, but I think the majority of the footballing world would see it as a massive shock if Celtic came away with anything over the tie or anything tonight. But as I say, we live in hope, and we hopefully get into this game with confidence, and we can be positive and play our own football and see how that goes.
Yeah, obviously, more before we touch more on that, I just want to say a very good morning to everybody that's tuning in with us and joined us this morning in the comments. We'll start off with Anne James' comment. Morning, JP, Alan, and the chat. Plunges in as well. Morning, everyone. We've got Nick Conley. Morning, JP and Alan. Craig McLean. Morning, JP, Alan, Plunge, Hail, Jungle Fever as well, and truly. Ryan, our good man there. He's on a day job. Morning, lads. Mark McDonald, good morning, all. And Nick Conley has messaged again, Alan, and he said, I think the support in the stadium have a big part to play tonight as well. No getting on the players' backs where there's misplaced passes, etc. The team needs all the support they can get. We'll touch more on that, mate, as we come. Another wee cut of comments. Big Barry McCann, morning, lads. Her campaign has been sensational. Nothing short. Let's be competitive in these two legs and do our club proud. Yep, from a comment there for Big Barry, contributor to the podcast as well. Yeah, I think, Alan, overall, as you said, mate, there is quite a lot of Celtic fans not expecting much from tonight because you look at the level of opposition. But you know me, mate, I've been an advocate all season, and I've been probably... You probably think I'm batshit crazy with some of the stuff I've been saying this season in terms of Europe and how you get that, JP? It's Europe. I've got a level of optimism about me this season, watching the team grow and get results in Bergamo, which, by the way, nobody in their granny seen that coming. I don't care who they are. We never. You did predict a draw, but I don't think we saw that set up for Celtic, the pragmatic approach that Brendan took. I think we were all deep. Our deepest fear that night was Brendan was going to go and set up and be expansive the way he was in Dortmund and get opened up at will. So that was a wee bit of a surprise for quite a lot of us, myself included. But again, a touch of class for the man himself and Brendan to show his versatility as a manager. He's not just that one trick pony that you only set up the one way and it's all attack football. Sometimes you've got to change, mate. But like he says earlier, it's a great position we're in. Obviously, looking at Bayern, their last game in the Champions League didn't end very well for them. They get thumped 3-0 with Feyenoord. So they'll be looking to obviously, and I've always said, mate, when it comes to this stage of the season, I think this is what's called the business end of the season. This is when teams like this come to the fore. So it's going to be interesting how we set up. But obviously, we're going to look into the way Bayern kind of set up in a wee minute, mate. But overall, mate, I think it's just there's a level of excitement about tonight because of, we're now here and it's the first time we've got there in about 12 years.
Definitely. Obviously, the time period that we've been away for these kind of knockout rounds for a club our size maybe disappointing, but when you look at the kind of level of opposition that we've had in the past, the golf and kind of finances, I don't want to sound like a certain kind of manager that's lacking hair for across the city talking about finances, but
he always throws that one in, doesn't he?
He was to talk about finances against Queen's Park, was he? I think it's obviously been a tough task for Celtic to match with these kind of sides, and it just kind of adds to what achievement that we've done this season. The kind of magnitude of getting to these kind of rounds, I think that's something to be massively applauded.
Yeah.
You're looking at kind of the game tonight. I think, as you know yourself, as it gets closer to kick-off time, just like any game with maybe kind of Celtic Rangers games especially, you get that kind of more confident. You get through all the levels of emotion, you go, oh, we're playing Bayern Munich, and then you go, oh, but we're playing well, we can do this. So I think there will be a level of positivity. I think once it gets to about 28, I'll be going, oh, we could maybe sneak this here and that. But I think when you have a bit of realism about the kind of quality of the side that you're playing, it is going to be a massively tough task. They're up there with kind of one of the best sides in Europe. You're seeing they're always at the kind of business end of the Champions League. They might have kind of lost their own domestic league last year with obviously a great league performance by a Leverkusen, but there's no doubt about it. When you name some of the players that they've got throughout their squad, it's, they have got a top level side. And
Yeah.
I think the players, the fans are obviously looking forward to it, but I think the players will be as well, because our players will be looking to kind of match up to these top level players and see how they can get on against these players. And I seen the comment earlier, obviously, about the fans in Celtic Park, and I think it should be an absolutely fantastic atmosphere tonight. You want it back to kind of the. You don't want it to be kind of ferocious, but you want to get on the back of the opposition as well. You want to make sure that they know they're in for a game. I think the 12th man will kind of help that. So it's definitely exciting to look forward to. And we get with all the confidence possible because of how we've been playing recently, and especially that added confidence that we've got kind of our star man at present back for suspension and Daizen Maeda. So I think that'll give the fans and the kind of the team a lift, because that was obviously unexpected and it has been massively influential for us.
Yeah, mate, I think that's a big indication. You talk about Daizen there. I was asked a couple of weeks ago, how fast do you think he really is? Well, it just shows you how fast he is. He's the only guy I know that serves a 2-match ban, and only he's that fast. He does it in one. He's only able to serve 1-match ban, and he's done 2. So that's how quick he is. Do you know what I mean? That just gives an indication of how fast the guy is. But no, listen, there's no getting away from it, mate. You're up against a top quality side tonight. Probably far different for anything that you're tested to domestically, in any way, shape or form. Obviously, we're going to look at Bayern now, Alan. They've won their last 4 games on the bounce, and as I said, their last Champions League game was a defeat to Feyenoord, where they lost 3-0, and that was away. Previous to that, they had beat Shakhtar Donetsk 5-1 at their home pitch. Now, I'm not sure if that was Poland or it was back in the Ukraine. It could be Poland.
It would have been Poland.
Bayern are pretty flexible with the way they play, Alan. So obviously they set up, they tend to pick from the same 3 formations, depending on the quality of opposition. It depends on what they do. Their preferred position looks to be a 4-2-3-1. However, they're not shy in changing to a 4-1-4-1 or even a 4-4-2, straight down the middle. So they can fluctuate between those 3 positions. Obviously, we play against a level of opposition that don't change position that much. So it'll be interesting to see how Celtic set up in that, Alan, because as I said, Bayern actually change within the game as well. Players rotate and, move around the pitch. So the teams that we play domestically, they don't tend to do that against us, mate.
Yeah, I think they are quite flexible about how they're playing, but when you're up against kind of decent opposition, when they're able to kind of be as flexible as they can. I think the way we approach it, I think Brendan's actually says it in his interviews as well, that it's maybe going to be a combination between the way we played against Atalanta and the way we played against Leipzig. So it's going to be a combination of both. I think that there'll be large periods of the game that Bayern will be kind of dominating possession. They have got. You'll probably get into their danger men soon, but you're looking at the likes of obviously Harry Kane up top, but you're looking at the likes of Kingsley Coman, the boy that played with was Crystal Palace, wasn't it? That Elise.
Michael Elise, yeah.
Aye, he's French international. You're looking at Musiala, absolutely tremendous player. And the likes of kind of Joshua Kimmich as well, that's been about for a while. He's just that kind of reliable player that your kind of Rodri type player, shall we say. It's like that and at a very, very top level. So, I'm sure that Brendan's done all the homework necessary. We know exactly what to expect. It's probably like the players. He'll be letting the players know how to prepare as best as possible. But
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, no matter how they set up, we're going to need our players, every one of them, kind of 10 out of 10 on it, and hoping for kind of maybe a wee Bayern slipping up, kind of no being at their optimum. So,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how we set up, but I think it will be slightly more defensive than we're used to seeing at Celtic Park. But at the same time, I think when we've got the ball, we will be having a go, and we'll need to kind of might have limited chances, but we need to take up. We need to take kind of the chances when they come. We need to take the opportunities because they'll probably be less than we're used to kind of having the amount of chances we get.
Yeah. There's no doubt, mate. They're going to have a lot of the ball. They like to control the ball. When they play with a 4-2-3-1, they have two controllers, and predominantly it's the same two all the time. So they normally play Joshua Kimmich and Alex Pavlovic in that sort of controlling side of it. They use that for technical ability, physicality, to try and stifle that area of the pitch. If we're to get any joy in there, we need to be bang on it with a counter press and not give the ball away cheaply. Now, whether that means you need to just give it back to the fullback to look for that bounce pass to come back inside the pitch, or you go long and you go over the top, i.e. guys like Nicholas Kuhn, if Daizen Maeda plays out wide, then you're looking for that sort of speed and that side of physicality to get in and turn Bayern over. You look at some of their main threats, you touched on a couple of their players, mate. I've got a wee list down here. Harry Kane, Pavlovic, Konrad Laimer, Joshua Kimmich, Jamal Musiala. I mean, we've not even spoke about him yet. The way he floats. João Palhinha, they got him for Fulham. Michael Olise, Leroy Sané, an experienced Thomas Muller. Leon Grootkus, again, another experienced senior pro. Serge Gnabry, who a lot of football fans will be well familiar with. And they've got Kingsley Coman. So they've got a real array of talent there and a lot of danger. My only issue, if like the lad Olise, in my opinion, I don't think the boy's ever faced this stadium before. I don't think he's ever came to somewhere like this. Now, am I right in saying, before I came on, I read that Celtic aren't, they've kind of put it out to the fans and they're not planning any pre-match entertainment, as in singing before the game?
I think there was, Ryan's told us, I think there was a bit a disagreement between the fan base that think that maybe, no disrespect to Liam McGrandles, but I think it was maybe they wanted something a wee bit more upbeat and in your face, shall we say,
Right, okay.
coming up in this game. So I think it's just going to be kind of music that's played over the sound system, etc., and the lights, and try to get more of an atmosphere involved. And I think Ryan's hit the nail on the head with the Celtic Park has to be hostile tonight as well. I touched on it earlier. You're probably looking at, you're wanting these players to fear coming to Celtic Park. No, these players say, no, I want to tick this box because it's a great atmosphere and it's a lovely place to go. We want to make sure that these guys don't want to come back to Celtic Park. So we want to make sure that we're in their faces, and hopefully the players can come across with the same performance and the fans can kind of really G up the players. And looking forward to a great night, to be honest.
See, Plunge just put a wee comment in and he says, yeah, fed up with players complimenting the atmosphere but walking away with an easy victory. I'm not having that garbage. Well, it's been a wee while since MD walked away with an easy victory. I think Celtic are in their 6th game now, unbeaten, going into tonight at Celtic Park at the level. So, it's becoming a difficult place now for teams to, teams aren't coming and just turning us over the way they have been. And for me,
probably the nearest one was Real Madrid when the likes of kind of Toni Kroos and Luka Modric were coming away saying, "Oh, that was fantastic," etc. So
yeah,
Aye, it's all great and well seeing these kind of teams and these top players at Celtic Park, but at the end of the day, we want to we might make sure they're not enjoying their night like that. And as you say, it has been quite a very good run in recent times. The last kind of year to 18 months, I'm looking at. We have been pretty decent at Celtic Park, but I remember looking back in time just now, and you'll remember it as well, Joel, kind of the likes of kind of Martin O'Neill's time and Gordon Stratton. There was a lot of the time we were taking kind of maximum points at home. That was the likes of kind of against teams like us, and that's when the atmosphere was. You were right on top of them, and it was very hostile. So I think that's maybe what Ponge and Ryan are saying, that you're wanting back to that kind of right as soon as they get the ball, you're right on top of them, and the fans are on their back, and you can hear that right away. The opposition maybe get a bit nervous because of the atmosphere, etc. Instead of being kind of happy that they're there to kind of savour the atmosphere, shall we say?
Yeah. We commented for Big Beans just saying he wishes he was going tonight. Loving watching top draw players. It'll be special. We get to do that every week. We get to watch top draw players every single week, and that's the joy of being a Celtic fan. You know, guys like Engels, Maeda, Kuhn, Jota. We've got our own. Listen, make no bones about it. We've got our own superstars who have all shown that they can shine at this level. Obviously, Jota's not. He's not been here this season, but we've got, lots of Celtic fans are going, we're up against world class. Bayern will be sitting going like that. This mob are a good side. Make no bones about it. You listen to Vincent Kompany's interview yesterday. He knows he's up against a good team.
You're talking about they've got upper echelon players. We know that. We expect
that,
but we need to make sure
as well.
we're on our game. Aye, we need.
No, definitely, they definitely have. But see, in my opinion, Alan, I don't know how you feel about this. I don't think they're the Bayern Munich of old. I think they've got. I've watched a couple of their games over the last couple of days, and they've got severe frailty. Like I says to you the other night in the dial-in, the big boy Kim at the back, he's their version of Effie Ambrose, in my opinion. He's a mistake waiting to happen, that big fella.
You're looking at the Bayern Munichs of the past. The Bayern Munichs of the past are some of the best teams that's ever existed, some of them. You're looking at some of the players that's went through Bayern's doors, the absolutely tremendous players. You look at a few years ago, we played the likes of Frank Ribery, Arjen Robben, Thomas Müller. You could go on if you were kind of looking into it, but they're massively successful. Lewandowski,
yeah.
So they are kind of top opposition. We need to make sure we're on our game 100%. That's all we can ask, basically. See, as long as we get in there and give a good account of ourselves, as long as we get in there, play our game, show what we can do, and if it comes down to it and Bayern are on a different level, then so be it. You can accept that. I just want Celtic, the players, to go out there and show exactly what they can do, play to their optimum, give a good account of ourselves, and no matter the score, no matter what happens, at least we know we've been out there and done the absolute maximum that we can. And we can have some pride in the players as well. That's all we want to see. If we can keep it respectable, if we can sneak a result, all the better. But I think we're under no illusion that it's an extremely tough task that we're up against, and it's one that we should be enjoying. As a lot of people are saying, the quality of players might not be the same level as you've seen Bayern teams in the past, but no doubt there is kind of international top level quality that they've got. You're looking at kind of Harry Kane's record, and since he's joined Bayern, it's 55 goals in 50 games.
Yeah,
that's scary. And you're looking at obviously the quality of the league and the Bundesliga. It might not be up to the standard of maybe the English Premier League, but you're playing top level opposition most weeks, and he's still kind of scoring that volume of goals, more than one goal every game. So they have got kind of top players, and it's going to be exciting to see them, but hopefully we can hold our own. I'm feeling positive and as confident as possible. I think we're going into this game in a very good place, and lots of confidence through the players, and I'm sure that Brendan's got the players very well kind of prepared, and we'll enjoy it and see what happens tonight. Hopefully it's positive.
Yeah, obviously looking towards Celtic tonight, Alan, and the way how do you think Celtic will go about the way they set up in terms of this approach for tonight? So you touched on earlier about you think they'll be a bit more defensive minded. Do you think that'll be the case in terms of the way they similar to the way they were in Bergamo?
Yeah, I think it will be more pragmatic. As Brendan says, it's probably a combination between the way we played in Bergamo and the way we played against Red Bull Leipzig. Celtic Park. So you're looking at when Bayern's got the ball, we're obviously going to keep it tight. We're going to be kind of well organised, well structured. And when we've got the ball, we have got certain players that maybe are a wee bit risky when you look at kind of the passes that maybe Hatate or Kuhn, etc., that they attempt. We can't kind of lose the ball easily. We need to kind of, when we've got possession, we need to make the most of it because, as you say, Bayern are a kind of possession-based team. So they're going to have the majority of the ball. So when we have possession, we need to make the most of it. And when they've got possession, we need to make sure that we're giving them as kind of little mistakes as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see us probably setting up possibly more defensively in the midfield, whether that be kind of Engels sitting back next to maybe the double pivot with Callum McGregor. I think we might try and kind of pack that defensive kind of midfield, and then we'd be relying on, I think it probably will be Cool and Maeda, and we're probably relying on them as outballs as well. So once we do kind of gain possession, you're looking at them to kind of take advantage of that down the wings. And I think the hold-up play, if he had Maeda tonight, if he does start, I think that's going to be massive because he's going to need to kind of hold the ball in a lot and let our other players progress up the park so that we can hurt them when we have got the ball. But as you said earlier, we have got quality players. We have got players that can hurt any team. So hopefully the players are well on it tonight, and when we get the opportunities, we're not going to get as much, but when we get these opportunities, we need to make sure we make the most of them.
Yeah, obviously the way I can understand, obviously, in terms of your thoughts, the way we approach the game and the way that we're going to set up. I don't think you'll be far off, to be fair. I do think a lot of tonight will come into how we are as a counter-pressing team. So when we don't have the ball, we need to be compact. If you're out of position, you need to get your arse back and make sure you're in position in order to keep the team shape. But the way we counter-press is what makes us the team we are, in my opinion, Alan. It's the speed that we do it at. So teams don't get a chance to set against us. And 9 times out of 10, when our 2 centre-halves are standing 10 yards inside the opponent's half, maybe not happened tonight, but most of the season we've seen that, even against young boys at Celtic Park, then you're going to create chances. You know, the law of averages are, you're doing that because you're winning the ball higher up the pitch. And I think Celtic have been absolutely instrumental this season at doing that, the way they get after teams. Tonight will not be no different, just because it's Joshua Kimmich, it's no Jason Holt we're playing here, but that doesn't mean any difference. You know, it'll be the same. Engels will be like, I don't care if it's Jason Holt or Joshua Kimmich, I'm going to apply the same element of press here on the ball. He's just a man at the end of the day. It's not as if he's anything, anything that extravagant, Jason Holt's a man, and so is Joshua Kimmich. It's the level that they play at is totally different. But in my opinion, it's the same tactic, it's the same way you train, it's the same way you set up, it's the same way you press. And then I think what needs to come into play is the calmness. So when we've got the ball, we impose our personality to play. The way we did at Villa when we went 2 goals down early doors. I don't want to see that happening. I don't want us to lose a couple of early goals tonight. And we give ourselves that bit of a mountain to climb. But if you can stay in the game and be compact when you have the ball, and then look to have a threat. You mentioned it, the wide areas. So if he plays Daizen, if he plays Nicholas Kuhn, or even if he plays Daizen through the middle and it's Jota and Kuhn, then you have that explosive pace in order to get up the pitch. I know what you're saying about the I think Daizen Maeda will play tonight because of the physicality side of it and the fact that he can come out the box and link play. So I think Celtic will maybe look to do that tonight. They've probably been preparing prior to this. And the Brucey bonus is Daizen's now free to play. So that gives you another option. But no, I think it's important, Alan, that when we do get the ball, we don't panic and we stay calm. But again, we need to stay competitive in and around the kind of the areas that we know we're good at.
I think you're right to a certain degree. I think we will press. Obviously, that's a massive part of our game. But usually when we're playing against kind of domestic opposition, you see the team were kind of hunting packs, kind of 4 and 5 players. The difference is if teams like Bayern, if they're able to kind of break through your press, you've got 4 or 5 players there, they can really hurt you. So I think we will press, but maybe slightly more cautious than we would be domestically, I'd guess probably. Because if you go that kind of gung-ho press the way that we've maybe seen domestically, the way that we're hunting packs, I think teams of that quality can play through presses, and if they do, you're in a bit of a pickle if you're kind of taking the kind of 4 or 5 players that they've played through. So I think it'll be a more kind of pragmatic approach to the pressing. I still see us kind of pressing relatively high. I don't think there'll be a massive change on how we play in our press, but I think there might be just slight wee differences in comparison to the way that we've maybe played against, I don't want to be disrespectful, but lower level opposition, that you can maybe risk the chance that they're going to play through your press because they've not got as much quality as teams like us. So I think Brendan might be slightly more pragmatic, but at the same time, we're at home. We want to implement the way we play. We want to force our play on towards kind of Bayern. So I still think we'll be extremely positive, but with a slight shade of what happened in Bergamo as well. I think that'll be infused into the way that we're playing at Celtic Park as well, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And look, like I says, I'll never steer away from, we've got quality, and I'll look, if I was a manager tonight, I'd be looking to implement that in the game. If you look at Bayern, the problem is as well, Alan, Bayern will let us have the ball. They will allow us to have the ball at certain points of the game. It's then what we do with that ball. It's how we use it. Are we calm? Are we no? Are we playing stray passes? Are we knocking the ball out? Are we giving the ball away? And there can't be any of this Carter Vickers no looking and passing the ball into his own net tonight. Can't have that. That sets us up for a big fall.
Trusty to be physical as well. We've seen, obviously, I've liked Trusty, but I think we've seen in recent weeks that he's maybe been lacking slightly in the terms of physicality. I think that was it was more on show probably with it was a Dundee away game, wasn't it? When it was Dundee that Simon Murray went through.
Yeah.
Aye, so I think it's imperative, obviously, we're centre halves need to play out their skin. We know Carter Vickers, he has made mistakes like that in the past, but you could always rely on him to be physical. I think you're hoping that Trusty's physical tonight as well, because there's no doubt you're playing against kind of one of the best strikers in the world, probably, and Harry Kane. And you're looking at the kind of midfielders and the wingers that Bayern's got that's going to be providing kind of balls in for Harry Kane as well. So it's probably going to be a tough ask for our defence tonight, but if we play at our very best, I'm more than confident that we can show ourselves at least in a very good light. And I think when both Carter Vickers and Trusty play well, they're a match for kind of most strikers, you'd say. You look at the the Leipzig game as well, how well we performed at Celtic Park, and obviously Bayern are kind of slightly higher opposition, but we can look back on that performance and that result and take confidence for that, because we're capable of kind of causing these teams of this kind of quality level. We're capable of causing them problems, and we're capable of being tight at the back. So yeah, I've got a certain level of kind of confidence, but at the same time, we need to realise them and look. We need to be right at it, because this team is a proper footballing side.
Yeah, Alan, see, getting into the game tonight, when you approach this game just now, who would you say was a better side? So obviously we faced Real Madrid under Big Ange, and look at that night. We played well for 60 minutes. Many that ultimately we lost the game 3-0. But who would you say was a better side? Would you say this Bayern team's a better side, or would you say that Real Madrid team was a better side?
That's hard, but I'd probably lean towards the Real Madrid side. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. I'd probably say, did they not get a goal, and did they win the Champions League that year? They've won it that often, I don't know.
I'm not sure. Was that? I can't remember.
Was it Dort? Oh, well.
No, that was last season. They beat Dortmund in the final.
So Man City
I can't remember. I can't remember if it was. Was that the year Man City won it?
Man City won it. No, because that would have been Brendan's first. I don't know. Right, look, I'd say Real Madrid. You look at the level of players they've got as well. They've been consistently at the top level. In Europe, they always seem to kind of get to the latter stages, get to the final. They've been winning it consistently. The record all-time kind of wins in the Champions League. So I would definitely say the likes of kind of Modric, Kroos, and Benzema. Benzema was playing at that time, I know, wasn't
he? Yeah, he got took off injured. Remember, he came off injured. He actually came off for an injury.
Vinicius Junior. So I would definitely say that Real Madrid.
Hazard was still wearing him because he scored that day.
So I'd definitely say that Real Madrid side were a better side, but that's not taken away from the quality that we faced tonight. They're still a top level side, but when you're comparing it to the likes of kind of Real Madrid, you know you're up against a top level side. Would you? Who would you say? Would you go along with Real Madrid, or do you think the Bayern side?
100%. And that's where my point was coming to, because you look at that night as well. We caused that Real Madrid team problems, and I'm talking about big problems. That one off the post with Callum McGregor, Celtic Park would have went berserk if that went in, and the game changes at that point, in my opinion. Goals change games, as you know, but I'm looking at some of the guys just now, and I'm looking at Hatate, and especially the level he's been playing at, especially recently. And then you've got Engels, and I'm looking at it, and I'm really, really optimistic about this, because I really think, Alan, there's a way for us to get after this Bayern team tonight. Now, maybe, listen, lads, folks that are watching me, maybe I'm going mental as I'm getting older, I don't know. But I really do think there is a way for us to really get at this Bayern team. And I think we could cause some serious problems. Maeda's a massive plus to that, Alan, as well. Because I don't think they have faced anything like this, like him, anywhere near domestically, mate. They've no.
Domestically, a couple of years ago, they would have played against Rabbi Matondo, wouldn't they have? So,
have they played against them yet?
I thought they played for Schalke,
He's went back to Hanover, hasn't he?
I don't know. Has he got a hangover? Right. No, I think we have got the quality, but the thing that we need, I'm slightly positive as well, but we definitely need all our players to be absolutely bang on it. There's no shadow of doubt about that. We need every one of them to put in a 10 out of 10 kind of performance for us to have a chance at a result, and we maybe need some of Bayern's players to be slightly off it. So there's no doubt about it. We have got players that can hurt most teams. We have got players with a lot of technical ability. We have got players that are very dangerous. But we need to make sure we are proper on it tonight. We need to make sure we're playing at the best of our ability if we're going to have any chance of kind of beating a top quality side like this. But just say against Real Madrid, we did kind of, for the best part of an hour of that game, we did kind of play really, really well. And we did give them something to think about and cause them problems. So if we can do that against the likes of kind of Real Madrid, anything is possible. As I stated earlier, you're looking at years gone past. I'm sure under Martin O'Neill, we drew with Bayern at Parkhead, didn't we? It was not Leeds. Sure, it was not Leeds.
Was that the one, the return leg? It was Magnus Edman let the ball bounce by him for Roy Mackay to score about nearly the halfway line.
Aye. So the home leg. It was all.
Alan Thompson actually scored against him first. He scored a header. We went one up in the Allianz at that night.
Aye, but I'm sure it was not Leeds at Celtic Park. I don't know. I might be wrong. But you've seen the level of kind of performance and the scores we've had in the past with likes of kind of Bayern Munich, Juventus, Man United, Barcelona, etc. So it is possible. Somewhat usually unlikely to turn these kind of teams over, but it's definitely possible because we have got players, as I say, that can hurt any team. But we just need to make sure if we do everything in our power, if we play to the best of our ability and they're slightly off it, then anything can happen. But there's no taking away from what massive a task it's going to be. But I'm looking forward to it because, as I say, you're getting into it as a kind of no-lose, really, as long as you don't get absolutely smashed up. I think we're happy because we're under no illusion. They are kind of one of the favourites for the tournament. They're a top-level side, so I don't think anybody would be raising any eyebrows if we get beaten in this tie. So we get into it with a sense of freedom, basically, that we've done excessively well this season in the competition, and let's just go out and see if we can match up to the likes of these players that Bayern Munich have got.
Yeah, listen, I know I'm one positive guy, man, but the Scotland Sun tops me, man. I tell you, he's come in with a comment of Celtic to win 3-1 tonight. That's absolutely tremendous. I think...
What's after 10? The pubs must be open.
I think...
I like your positivity a bit, mate.
I love that, pal. I do. I love that, and I want a mug of that if it's possible. Message me after the show, will you? And we'll try and get that sorted. One guy I want to touch on, Alan, is Daizen Maeda. I think there's been a wee bit of a story there. We all thought that we were going to be without Daizen tonight, and I know I had a wee joke at the beginning. I said he's that fast that, he only sells one match ban and he's done two, really. But I can see a big difference in Daizen this season for me, mate. I just think he's more clinical. You were talking about the Real game earlier. He missed a couple of glorious chances for us that night. And he really, again, goals change games. If one or two of them go in, you're looking at a different game that night. But you look at him now, I think P. McLaughlin's put in the comments that he's seen him in the warm-up, and quite a lot of his shots and stuff were all hitting goal bound and going into the top corner, and you just look at how lethal he is, Alan, during the games, and the amount of goals he's now starting to score. In my opinion, mate, this is going to sound mental. I can't believe I'm saying this because I labelled him my man the best since Henrik. I think, Alan, very quickly, if Daizen continues on this form, he is going to be more important to Celtic now than what Kyogo was because of what he's doing. Because he's played every position in the front three over the last couple of weeks. And as Brendan says himself, I ran the legs off him the last 3 games. And he's still ready to go tonight. So I just think we've got somebody there, mate, who he's a massive, massive weapon for us, mate. And he's very unique in the style, the way that he plays, his physicality, his pace, his power, his running, the way he chases back. And I just think he's now going to build himself that profile, mate, where he becomes probably the next hero for Celtic.
No, there's no doubt how important it's been. I think we touched upon it on Monday. We spoke about, I think Brendan must have been listening to us because we were speaking about how clinical he's been in comparison to when there was a lot of times maybe his technical ability was missing chance after chance and kind of skying things over the bar. But Brendan said in his press conference as well about his conversion rates massively improved.
Yeah.
You look at his kind of, it's not even just his goals, like what his goals per shot, etc. Like he has been far more clinical. He's starting to prove kind of myself, and obviously what Brendan says is pretty wrong just now, because Brendan as well said that he wouldn't like to kind of use him as a striker. He thought that his position was kind of out wide. He can play as a striker, but it wasn't something that he was kind of planning on doing unless that he had to. But
do you think he's going to be left with no other option, Alan? That's what I was going to say. Do you think he's going to be left with no other option if he keeps scoring?
He's starting to put away the goals. So long may it continue that he's been that clinical, because we know what Daizen Maeda is good at. We know that he's pressing. We know that his energy is like the Duracell bunny. He doesn't stop. He's like Forrest Gump sometimes. He just basically runs until he can't run anymore. So we know that we've got a massively influential player on our hands. We've known that for the last kind of couple of years, but he's adding kind of quality with consistently kind of finishing just now. And that's a kind of scary proposition for a lot of kind of the opposition that we come up against, because usually you're looking at Daizen and maybe get say 4 or 5 chances a game and he'd maybe take between 0 and 1 of them, but now he's starting to take 2 or 3 of them. And that's him turning into kind of a proper player up front for us. I still think he'll be used in the wing position tonight. He might change it up, kind of coming later on in the game. I don't know, but I think probably Ida might start tonight. But Daizen's obviously he's making that hard decision for Brendan to make, because anytime he's playing through the middle recently since Kyogo's left, he's playing really well and kind of making the manager's decision a really hard decision to make.
Yeah, no, 100%, mate. Like I says there, I mean, in my opinion, I think he's going to be the next hero for the team. I really do. I think he's going to carry that mantle. And you look at some of his goals over the last couple of weeks. The one at Fir Park, mate, the header, that's like Henrik. It's himself. The back across goal sets us up. I mean, that was right early on in the game as well. I think it was like the first few minutes of the game. And it just put us on that kind of, right, here we go, we're going to win this year and do it convincingly. And then you look at him the last couple of games, hat-trick against Dundee. Or was it a hat-trick against Raith Rovers? He scored that many. I'm actually...
He scored 2 against Dundee.
2 against Dundee, wasn't it? 2 against Dundee and a hat-trick at the weekend. That's what I'm saying. He scored that many goals. He's scoring that many goals now. You're losing count. You're thinking it's hat-tricks and hat-tricks and hat. So... his movement as well, Alan, for me, you look at the third goal he scores against Raith. I know we're not really, you can't really compare that, but the movement's the same movement if it's, I don't know, Umpa Meccano, or if it's, Jason Holt. Just say that it's the same movement that you're asking the player to do. And he's that fast, Alan. He starts to be over here, and Lewis Stevenson, even at the weekend, thinks he's got him. Before you know it, he's in him ahead of him. The ball's in the net. I just think his movement's frightening me, and I just think he's a very, very dangerous player.
We obviously spoke about Ida stepping up and being the main man. Do you think now that Kyogo's left that maybe Daizen Maeda's thinking, I'm going to step up and be the main man?
I wouldn't be surprised, mate. I wouldn't be.
Performances are kind of... They've stepped up a notch or two since Kyogo has left. So I don't know if he's thinking, wait a minute, I'm going to be the main man here. So
yeah, well, maybe there was a wee bit of overshadowment on, like, Kyogo was a striker and Daizen was out wide, but Daizen's obviously he's certainly threw his hat in and went, listen, I can play through the middle as well. and I've got the ability to do so. And any time he's done it for us, Alan, he's scored goals. You know, so I just think he can be massive. And I think that there's an element of being able to relax here because you brought Jota in. Because Jota can play in the wide area now. And you've got Kuhn on the other side. You've also got Big Ida there as well, who, by the way, prior to that, had scored like 4 goals in 3 games, 2 against Aston Villa in the last outing in the Champions League. So, again, really turned what was looking, you know, in terms of goal-wise, it was looking very shabby for him. But then he turned that round and started scoring and saying, well, I can score goals as well. Here you go.
Yeah.
So, listen, it's only going to benefit us, mate, in the long run. It's at the end of the day,
it's options,
yeah, 100%. And I just think that's, you know, we've exited the January window. A lot of Celtic fans maybe not happy about you know, a lot of Celtic fans were getting bogged in with Celtic not bringing in that extra striker. But these guys have kind of turned around and went, well, hold on a minute. You know, we don't need an extra striker, then we'll get by until the summer. You look at the season, the way the season left, ultimately everybody's really saying that this is Celtic's last throw of the dice at the Champions League this season. Over this tie, we're expected to probably go out, which is the surrounding expectation. You then look at the rest of the league games. I think we need, 8 more wins in the league now to actually secure the championship again. We're still in the cup.
Yeah, if we beat Rangers, I think that's...
So that's what I'm saying. So some of these guys are stepping up and going, well, hold on a wee minute. You maybe don't need to bring in another... And here, I can do this as well. So, but over the last couple of weeks, mate, it doesn't look like... We don't look like a team that doesn't have Kyogo anymore.
There's no doubt the players have stepped up to the mark, I think, so far. I think we're only concerned that we knew that these players would probably step up to the mark, but I think it's just we had the capabilities there to kind of back the manager with regards to bringing in a player if Kyogo was leaving. I think that's where most of the frustration lies. It's no, oh, which striker we go. I think that the managers, obviously, he's wanted as many players as he can possibly get, and he convinces he needed a striker. So we are a elite level manager like Brendan Rodgers. We want to do everything in our power to give him everything he needs to do the best job possible. Did that happen in January? Probably not. We're over that fact now. That's in the past. I was probably one that was as upset as anybody regarding that. But at the end of the day,
you never slept for days, big man.
What?
You never slept for days, big man. You were up with worry.
At the point now, there's no point in kind of crying or spilled milk. At the end of the day, we're sitting kind of rosy at the table. It looks like it's going to be not an easy task, but we've not got kind of the other Glasgow side. Well, we've got Queen's Park in the Scottish Cup. They're still in it, so but it looks like it is going to be a very positive season with the outlook of a treble. So if there's a high probability of that. So
does that make him the second best team in Glasgow now?
Aye, official. I don't know. So not. I don't know.
I'm just thinking after Sunday there, it must make him the second best in Glasgow now.
So I think a lot of the kind of frustration just came from the manager. Obviously, he's come out in public and says that that's what he needed, that's what he wanted, and they've not went out and got what the manager says he needs. I think that's where it is. But that's, as I say, that's in the past now. Hopefully, he can get what he needs in the summer. And when he asks for something like that, then we take him seriously, because he's probably the best manager that we could attract at Celtic at the time being. He's an exceptional level manager. But aye, it is what it is. The players are stepping up now, with the likes of Ida with a few goals. Obviously, Daizen Maeda is massively stepping up. Jota is looking very positive as well. So, aye, we're going with a level of positivity towards tonight, and let's hope that we can pull off the unexpected, shall we say?
Yeah, 100%. Peter McGlone, he says, what about Yang JP? Yeah, well, listen, obviously, Brendan, for whatever for a reason, has decided to keep Yang in and amongst the side and feels like he can work with Yang. I mean, for that, he's moved Palmer on. So, Peter, I wouldn't be adverse to say that Yang will probably play in certain games running up to the end of the season, mate. And I tell you what, if he continues to put in a contribution that, we all acknowledge that he done on Saturday, then he'll not do himself any harm, that's for sure. But obviously, there's been an ongoing issue with Yang for some time now in terms of his consistency. Whether or not he's now able to get over that and take us forward, Alan, is will remain to be seen. But I do think Brendan's obviously kept him amongst the squad, mate, in order to be amongst the lads and learn, develop, and eventually try and contribute.
I don't know.
It's not. By the way, this isn't about whether you favour the guy or no. This is just trying to give an honest opinion on what you see, because he's been kept there for a reason, obviously.
I don't know about reason. I'm struggling to see. Obviously, Brendan, he's more qualified, far more qualified than anyone else to see. But
yeah,
I'm struggling to see the kind of quality that he obviously got 2 assists and 1 goal, and he gets all the credit for that. But barring that, he's not really contributed a hell of a lot this season. I think there was a stat the other day before he scored that goal that Jota had more assists or the same goals or something in 70 minutes than he had the whole season. So I hope he starts to improve. I hope that that would be the confidence that he needs to kick on, because we want every Celtic player to succeed. Am I convinced at present? Far from it. I can't see, unless he'd need to do this consistently until for a prolonged period of time, I think, to change a lot of Celtic fans' minds. I think we've seen no bad performances, but performances that are maybe not at the level that we expect at Celtic, and maybe not at the level that the other wingers are providing. So we hope that every Celtic player succeeds. So we're right behind them 100%. But I'm not convinced as of yet, just in my opinion.
Yeah, and the lad, obviously, I don't think he's getting talked about enough for the Celtic fans, so I thought I would leave this to before we start making team predictions, Alan. I wanted to discuss Jeffrey Sloop, mate. Another guy came in late.
Another
guy came in late on the window. And just obviously looking at how you think he'll fare going into the remaining games of the season, mate.
I liked him the other day. I thought the weekend he didn't do anything kind of spectacular, shall we say, but done his job. I thought he looked pretty decent, and considering he's not played a hell of a lot of game time this season, I thought he looked pretty decent. I liked what I've seen. Obviously, that's the same as kind of any player, like I've just said with Yang, that we need to see that over a consistently a prolonged period of time. But as a start, I don't think he's done much wrong. So we touch upon the players that we've seen at the weekend. I thought we can't kind of make too much judgment on Silasalo. I thought if I had to make any criticism, I thought he was kind of weak coming out for the ball. I think that's something that he needs to work on and definitely improve. He's a young goalkeeper. He's had virtually low game time, so we can't criticise too much. But you're looking at kind of Jeffrey Sloop, I thought he done relatively well. I didn't see any problem with his performance, and I'm quite positive that we should have a half decent player there that's able to come in and contribute.
Yeah, I've been impressed with his game awareness. I've been impressed with his tactical awareness in the game, when he knows where to be, when to drop, when to go inside, when to come back outside, when to drop in to help the left centre back. I've been impressed with what I've saw of him very quickly. But again, I mean, let's not get away from it. The guy's played over 10 years in the Premier League at that level, so it's only obvious that he's where he is in terms of the level. I'm actually going to. I've got a wee surprise for a lot of people. I actually think Jeffrey Sloop will start tonight. So I actually think I think there's a reason why he's been brought here. And I think he's got a physicality level as well. He's got height. And I do think he'll start tonight. I think that's the reason why he's been included into the squad. I think Brendan will be looking to start him tonight. But obviously, touching on that, mate, how do you think Celtic will shape up? And what's your team prediction?
I think it'll be usual kind of formation. I think it'll be usual team. I think it'll be Kasper Schmeichel, Alistair Johnston, Carter Vickers, Trusty, Greg Taylor, Callum McGregor, Arnie Engels, Rio Hitati. I think it'll be Daizen Maeda, Nicholas Kuhn and Adam Maeda. And I'll go with one each.
You going with one each? Okay. I think the team will be Kasper Schmeichel, Alistair Johnston, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Austin Trusty, Jeffrey Sloop. I think the midfield will be Callum McGregor, Arnie Engels, Rio Watati. I think it will be Jota. I think the other winger will be Maeda. And I think it will be Adam Maeda. Yeah. So that's the way I see the team shaping up tonight. I just think a Premier League player coming here to help us towards the end of the season, I just can't see the guy no playing, especially with what's going on just now with Greg Taylor's contract situation. I just don't see how Jeffrey. I think that's the reason why he was given game time straight away in order to get him up to speed with a physical level, and then he's been training and looking at the training videos, watching Brendan having discussions with him and speaking to him, and I've got a feeling, and I had the same feeling when Alistair Johnson made his debut at Ibrox. I was on with Barry Bannon and Ryan that night, Alan, and I'd says to them, they thought Juranovic was going to start, and I said, no, I think it's going to be AJ.
That's not a crazy shout. I think he will definitely come on at some point if he doesn't start. I think he will contribute tonight. So, but it's no out with the realms of possibility that he could start.
Yeah. Craig McLean just says he's seen nothing from that. He would have him in front of Greg Taylor, and he would be amazed if he starts. No, listen, that's totally fine. Afternoon to yourself, pal. I'm going to be honest. I think he's better than Taylor. I think he's a better player than Taylor. I think he's going to be better all round than Taylor. I think he's obviously better than Alex Valle, which is also why Alex Valle was allowed to move on. Whether that was a player that the plan was to bring in. We tried to bring Kieran Tierney in. That never happened. But we've now got another player from a similar level to KT in terms of the Premier League. So, no, I call me. I don't know. Call me whatever you want. Say whatever you like. But I just don't see I don't see any rationale bringing him in and no playing him in this game, especially if you've added him in the squad.
He can still play a part. I think whether he'll start. I think I'm thinking that Taylor will start. I think as I say, I was quite happy with what I seen with Jeffrey Sloop. I thought it looked pretty decent, but again, that we need to see that over a kind of prolonged period of time. We need to continue. We've barely seen him. We've only seen him for overall basically 90 minutes. I think overall he's played. He came on as a sub, didn't he? And then he started the game at the weekend. Yeah, am I right? Yeah.
No, he started the game at the Roof Rovers.
That's what I'm saying. But then he came on the game previous to that.
He came on in the Dundee game.
So he played about 90 minutes overall. I'm saying so he played half at 60 minutes and
Yeah.
So I think for us to make a kind of proper judgment on a player, we need to see him for longer than that. If Brendan starts him tonight, then obviously he's shown something in training. But for what I've seen just now, getting into a massive game, I think Taylor will start. But as I say, it's up to Brendan. He's the guy that's seen them on the training pitch, so we can only see what will happen. But I look forward to it definitely.
Yeah, and by the way, this is just I've just given my thoughts on what I think will happen. Craig says to me there, "What has Taylor done to deserve to be dropped?" It would be criminal. I don't think it would be criminal. Like I say, you brought in a Premier League defender, so I don't think that's criminal. But lots of our fans have not liked Taylor in Europe. You know, I've been a big advocate for Greg Taylor on this channel. I do see what Greg Taylor brings the Celtic team. But personally, in the game tonight, I just think that, you know, I think the game, in terms of experience and playing against, you know, the best players in the world, playing in the best league in the world, that's the reason I think Jeffrey Soot will play before Greg Taylor. Now, if Greg Taylor plays, smashing, brilliant. I don't have any gripes whether Greg Taylor plays or not. I'm just basically giving my thoughts on who I think will start the game tonight. And I think with the Celtic team, folks, it's horses for courses, really. And, you know, depending on how tonight goes, Greg might start in the Allianz. Who knows? But in terms of what he's done, he's not done anything that bad. Or it's not a case, if a player's removed for a team or gets put on the bench, it's not necessarily he's done anything wrong.
It's, you know, like good games and bad games.
Yeah. He had a great game against Leipzig.
I think Celtic should have better. Of course I do. I think obviously Kieran Tierney comes in, he's going to be. But there's sometimes we've watched Greg Taylor.
Well, this is what I'm saying, Alan, and I think you're not probably the only Celtic fan of that opinion, mate. That sees Greg Taylor as not being the best, is what we can get at that position.
Sometimes I've watched Greg Taylor, so Greg Taylor would be better with Dennis Taylor. So, but there's other games that he has played. He's played well. He always kind of does a job for you. But
depending on the night, we might need Dennis Taylor because we might need snookers after the night.
I know, upside down glasses, I know. So, I don't want to kind of lambast Taylor or slag him. I just think that for us, paying a decent fee for Kamala, he's done reasonably well as a Celtic player. There's no doubt about that. Do I think that Celtic could achieve a better kind of left back than Greg Taylor? Of course, and I think that's shown with bringing in Kieran Tierney. We've tried a number of times to replace him.
Yeah, I've seen this opinion as well. Like, Taylor doesn't want to play for Celtic anymore. I don't think that's the case at all, Peter. I think that's a bit more complex than just a case of Greg Taylor's woke up one morning and decided, I don't want to play for his team anymore. I think he knows what the plan is for the future. You look at the length of time he's been Celtic's predominantly number one left back, you're talking 5-6 years, mate. That's a long time to be just the number one. Now, moving forward, Greg's not going to have that flexibility anymore. He knows he's up against, he's going to be up from the summer. He knows he's going to be up against a guy who, he's top of the range. There's no getting away from it. Kieran Tierney is far superior to Greg Taylor, and Greg knows that.
I don't doubt for a minute that Greg gives us all. He's always professional. I don't think because he is going to be leaving in the summer. I still think for now at the end of the season, he's a professional footballer. He always deals with himself at a very, very high level. Portrays himself at a very high level. So I wouldn't doubt. I wouldn't even come into my mind of saying, no, don't play Greg Taylor because he's going to leave in the summer. I still think Greg Taylor will give his all for the club and the team, and I don't think I've any doubt about that. So, for me, it probably starts tonight, but I could be wrong. You could be right. It could be Sloop, but for me, I think it'll just be Taylor.
No, that's fine. That's totally fine. How you doing, Scott? Good to see you, pal. We're just about to finish up, mate. So you'll need to watch us back, I'm afraid. But that's all we've got time for today. If anybody's going to the game tonight, please take care and enjoy. Look forward to seeing the stars of Bayern Munich. Just to let everybody know, before we do go, there is only 16. There's only 16 balls left on our bonus ball, folks. Okay. So the bonus ball is to win that signed and framed Joe Miller jersey. There's Joe's signature there. A wee plaque for you to let you know who's signed it. Wee photo of Joe with the cup. And the certificate, this is the most important part for me, Alan. Certificate of authenticity. And it was donated by a friend of our sponsor, Mr. Alec Beveridge from AB Entertainment. If you do want to take part, guys and gals, in the bonus ball, you can pay your £5 entry to that PayPal account, RyanClifford9 at aol.co.uk. If you don't have PayPal, that's fine. You can contact us and we can arrange an alternative method for you. But like I said, there's 16 balls. Once this is done, guys, on the next podcast, whenever it's filled, we will be doing the live draw. Okay? On you go, Alan.
Just got a wee comment there that saying who said that Taylor's leaving. There has been credible kind of news outlets in Croatia that's saying that I think he's close or signed a pre-contract with Dynamo Zagreb. Whether we believe these news outlets, but they seem pretty credible, so we have no inside information that Greg Taylor's definitely leaving. But the news that we're hearing from outside, especially in that country, that points towards that he is going to be leaving. But as I say, we're just surmising for that information. We've no inside information or anything, so that's all we're going with.
Yeah, I do think, I mean, common sense tells you the longer this goes on, his contract's up in the summer. So the longer this goes on without signature and without Greg committing or knowledge of Greg committing, then it's only obvious that Greg's going to move on. I mean, he's a 27-year-old. He just got married in the summer previous and his missus is pregnant now. So he's the next move, you've got to look at that. It's a big move for him. It'll be probably his last big payday. Now, what I said earlier was he's been Celtic's kind of number one left back for some time, and that's now not going to happen. He's going to have to play a rotational figure. And maybe Greg isn't happy with that, which is fine. Listen, that's where we go. But obviously then Celtic need to be proactive in that. We get Tierney in, and then we might need to get somebody, whether it's maybe even Jeffrey Sloop. I don't know, because his contract's up at Crystal Palace. We could look at, bringing him in permanently, giving him a couple-year deal until we get to that stage again. But we'll just need to wait and see. I seem to have caused a wee bit of an upset because I said I think Jeffrey Sloop will start tonight instead of Greg Taylor. JP, how do we contact you, pal? I don't have any PayPal. What you can do is the Celtic Unrestricted View is on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Myself and Ryan have Facebook also as personal pages. So you can get us on any of those platforms, or what you can do is you can send a message into the community section. It should say post or whatever it is. Send a message into the community section of our YouTube channel, and we'll go for there. Either myself or Ryan, I'll get back to you. So if you don't have PayPal, that's fine. Contact us and we'll get you set up. And the bonus ball, wee quick one before we go. Do we sign Penrice from Hearts? He's not a bad penalty taker, by the way. It's all right.
This season for Hearts, he's probably their player of the year. He's getting kind of decent reviews.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad shout. I don't know.
What I would say, Scott, I don't think it's a bad shout personally. However, I would be surprised if that's where Brendan's looking. If that makes sense to you, mate. So, not that we're again signing any of these guys, but I would be surprised. You've got to look at Tierney, and then, you're, in my opinion, if I was looking just now, I would be saying something like Brendan will probably try and get Jeffrey Sloop if he can. I mean, that would be an amazing bit of business itself, Alan, because obviously you've got Jeffrey Sloop coming in on a free, along with Kieran Tierney. So that's two Premier League level fullbacks coming in to challenge one another for that position.
Depends on how well Jeffrey does, and depends on if Jeffrey comes in and he knows that Kieran Tierney's coming in. Is he quite happy to play kind of second fiddle to Kieran Tierney? It's another question, but we'll find out this summer. But the Penrith side, that goes along this kind of same lines as we go Taylor for Kamara. It's not a bad shout. It brings up the numbers that are kind of homegrown players as well. So I wouldn't be any kind of Scottish players that have been showing any type of form. I wouldn't be against kind of bringing them in. whether that be as kind of squad players or players we can improve, etc. So, aye, it's not a bad shout. Maybe we will go down a different route if that be Jeffrey Schlupp or somebody else. Aye, but we can see what happens. But obviously, Brendan will make that decision come the summer.
Yeah, aye, 100%. And like I said, folks, if any of you are going to the game tonight, do enjoy. Have a good one. We'll be back tomorrow night. Barry Bannon is going to join us on the channel. We'll be back with all the aftermath. Some of you might be hiding underneath covers, and depending on how the night goes on. But we'll look forward to the next chat, mate, as we go.
Aye, I'll be probably tomorrow. I'll be hiding with my bottle of Beck's and my German sausage or something. Aye, so something German anyway. So Beck's is German, isn't it? Aye.
I think so. I don't quote, by the way. It's not something I drink, so don't quote me.
It's one of the only beers I really drink.
Right.
Try and get a German beer. Well, some German beer. I'm just coming up with German. Aye. That's Dutch, isn't it?
Is it Dutch? Is that Dutch? Right. Okay.
I think so.
I can't think of any German beer. That's terrible.
I don't know.
I've got the ones I like, so it's no something I'm.
I'm going to go get an Oliver can. Can.
The can. But above all else, take care, folks, and we'll see you all again tomorrow. Bye bye. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.